Well, it's Monday, the 9th of January, and we raced in Gqeberha, where we're on the poly track, and just having a look at the race card. Well, there's 8 races carded, so as you know, the exotics will all begin in race number 1, which is the start of the bar pot. But it's my first time previewing the show with Grant Paddock, and Grant's had a lot of success down in Port Elizabeth, a horseman of note. But Grant, you know, we're just chatting off air, and it's just due to the lack of support that you had to make a big, bold decision over something that you really love.
100%, Deez. You know, difficult times. Unfortunately, COVID did put the damper on it, and I had to make the right decision, and otherwise it would have been disastrous. So, yeah, unfortunately, but still love the game, and still stay in contact with a lot of people outside and with the industry.
Well, they say in racing, you can check out any time, but you can never leave, Grant.
That's 100% for sure.
Yeah. Let's get to the card, Grant. 1,600 meters, race number 1. It's a maiden plate for fillies and mares. At the time of recording, we'll go to the race number 1. Lily of Orange is a scratching, so that hasn't been updated, but no problem. But number 1, I just had a look at the scratchings. Lily of Orange is out there. So 10 runners will go to post. Of course, the betting proudly brought to you by Hollywoodbets. Grant, I'll just call out in each race the horses that are in single figures. In race number 1, number 4, Minstrel Gallery is trading at 23 to 10. Number 5's at 9 to 2. 6 is at 8 to 1. And then the strong favorite is 11. That's trading at 13 to 10. That's Krief and Fourie. Is she the right filly in the race?
Deez, you know, she's been to the track twice. They've backed her twice, and she's been disappointing twice. She's trying the mile now. She's drawn out a bit deep. She's another favourite that could get beaten here. I must be honest with you. I really like this horse, Minstrel Gallery, from the Smith Yard, who's really firing with Kamala. Good draw at 4, having its peak run. Good first run here, running second to Hazy Crazy Night, which is, that form line is a bit stronger than the executive form line. So I'm strong on Minstrel Gallery from executor, and the third and fourth position can go anywhere. Race horses like Ray Flambe and Chiquita Banana, but very strong on the 4 here for me, my man.
Strong Grant Paddock on the 4, Blinker Strike as well. And then 11 Exeter for Krief. Well, I know that she is related to that horse called Priceless Rulos, trained by Dennis Dreyer, you know, multiple winner on the poly track. So she may just appreciate the extra distance. But let's go with number 4 here, Minstrel Gallery, as a confident selection from Grant. But if you're looking for cover, the obvious horse is horse number 11. On to the place accumulator now, which is race number 2. It's over 1,600 meters. And at the time of recording, all 11 run. Look again at the horses in single figures. Grant, they're very, very tight at the top of the betting boards here. I'll call it out. Number 4, Foot Soldier, is 23 to 10, along with number 5, Federal Reserve, at 23 to 10. Then you got number 6, Vuvuzela Mlilo, at 5 to 2, and it is 10 to 1 and better the balance. So basically, the fixed odds betting market is saying we can't split these 3, numbers 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah, it looks like it, but listen, these horses have had many chances already, and I've gone for Vuvuzela Mlilo. He's holding decent form on the poly, got a good draw. Chaser's riding. Foot Soldier, he probably would have preferred a touch further than the mile, but he has got a 2 draw with Richard up, so they'll probably have him a bit handier. Federal Reserve was back luck. They knew the result last time out, and he was very, very disappointing on the poly. Going a little bit further, maybe that will help. And then there's this horse of Peter Rangers who ran a couple of days ago, and I tell you what, if you watch how this horse ran, it's unbelievable. He was drawn 12 out of 12. He didn't know what he was doing on the poly, but he finished the race off unbelievably well. Extra 300 meters, 3 draw, massive place money. Massive place money, there's no doubt. But I've gone Vuvuzela Mlilo to win it from Foot Soldier and Rogue Mail.
Well, Rogue Mail is a 14 to 1 shot, Grant, so you may have found something for the guys. Plenty of value here. race number 2. I like Grant's thinking of number 1, Rouge Melee. So, how many horses in the bar pot? Well, Grant says I'm going to give you my bar pot numbers at the end of the show. So we'll go through his bar pot numbers at the end of the show. But tight on top between 4, 5, and 6, and the value could be number 1. We're on to the third race. This is the big one, the Pick 6, and it always pays handsomely in P. It's a novice plate. Over 1,000 meters betting. Well, number 1, Modern Magician, who is proving a bit frustrating to follow now in Port Elizabeth, because I thought last time out looked like the right field, is trading at 13 to 10. 2, Seismic Event is at 7 to 1. 3, Stay the Course is at 33 to 10. Number 4, Coastal Part at 5 to 2. 6, Drop of Time is a 7 to 1 shot. And then it's double figures, the balance. This horse, Modern Magician, when you look at his profile in black and white, that one standout run is Anfield's Rocket, and that will always keep you interested, Grant.
Yeah, you have to. Listen, last time I thought he found the right field, but that 8 out of 9 draw caught him out. He's now drawn 1. He's having his peak run, third run here. It's going to be a tough nut to crack these. He really has. You bring that Anfield's Rocket form line is far too strong for this lot, and he's confident. He's a banker in the Pick 6, a banker in the PA. If you need to cover up, you cover up with Stay the Course. He's got good course and distance form, so it'll be between those two, no doubt.
Well, there's different styles of training anywhere in the country. But in particular, in Port Elizabeth, with all these horses coming from other centres, through your experience, I'm talking about a horse like Drop of Time, who's debuting for the Midgley Yard. Through your experience, obviously some horses take a bit longer to settle down there than others.
These, with my experience, I always found that the horses that came from Durban, they normally took 1 or 2 runs to acclimatise and found their feet. The Cape Town horses are far superior, and then the Joburg horses actually take a while. They take a good 6 to 8 weeks to acclimatise and get used to the coast, but then they do come well once they put their condition back on and acclimatise. But the Cape Town ones seem to crack on the best.
What about now being an advantage? I know they're 2 different polys, the one in KZN and the one in P, but if you got a horse that enjoys the poly and KZN, will there be much difference with the poly in P?
Yes, 100%. These we go a hell of a lot quicker here. Our track seems to be quicker. Very seldom do you find horses winning from 5-6 lengths off them on the poly. But we really crack on, and a lot of horses that come from Durban that run on the poly there, and they show pace there. They can't go with us here in the first 3 or 4 furlongs. They really battle. We really do crack on in our races here, and then with a short straight, you get away at the top of the lane and stay on, and a lot of horses win their races like that.
Well, some nice information there about the poly surface in comparison to 1 year in KZN. We're on to race number 4. It's a fillies and mares 63 handicap. It's over 1,000 meters. Horses in single figures. Number 1, Emily Spirit, is at 7 to 1. 2 at 9 to 2. 3 at 9 to 2. 7 to 1, number 6. Then we move along to horse number 9, Miss Rose, is an 8 to 1 shot. 10 is trading at 7 to 2, and it is 10 to 1 and better the balance. Need some help here, some big help, because this looks to be very tricky.
It looks tricky, but if you look at this horse Quick Count's form lines, they are very strong. Princess Debs last time out, a quarter length, European Summer in a 72 and in a 76. She's down to a 63 handicap, 1 draw, strong front runner. A hell of a lot of value at 9 to 2, I can tell you that right now. The dangers, the other Greef horse was Richard Up, Bouquet. That's the danger. Good second to Carbonado, who's running later on in my fancy as well. So she's got to be the main danger. But I really like the look of Quick Count in this race, especially from that 1 draw.
If I'm suggesting to include horse number 7, am I reading into the race too much? Because I don't know what happened last time out with Baby Don't Hurt Me, Grant. But that first start wasn't the worst on the poly track. And I see this heavy merit rating drop as well. At her best, I think she's achieved the highest in this field at an 80. And she's dropped to a 58. I don't know what happened last time out, though. I can't comment on that run.
Well, they're probably that 10 out of 10 draw. You know, she's had two runs on the poly here. She's been there 10 out of 12, 10 out of 10, and this time she's got 10 out of 12 again. So, she hasn't been the luckiest horse at getting draws, but if she reproduces that European summer run, she's got to be a bit of a runner. But also, you know, she had Quick Count well in front of her on that day. So that's why I still think Quick Count, the right kind of horse in this race, at the right price.
Quick Count, the right price, 9-2, number 3, and if you're including one more, number 10, Bouquet, the stable companion. We're on to race number 5. It's over 1,200 meters. It's a merit-rated 82 handicap. And in this race, number 1, Naval Secret, is 33-10. 2, Sandbank is at 9-2. 3, Life on Mars at 7-2. 11-2, number 4, El Qasim. Then we move along to number 5 at 8-1. 6 is 11-2 shot, and 7 Path of Joyce is 4-1. All those runners in single figures, Grant. The big outsider here is number 9, 25-1. This race, there's one horse that I like here, but you know, I can't give the guys much confidence because I watched the run last time out, and I know that Cliff Top really won well, but El Qasim, on his day, he can run this horse.
Yeah, he can. You know, that was a 1,000-meter race. He's now back over the top. You know, he's a strong front runner. He doesn't seem to finish his races off, though. He goes flat out, and then you need to hope a bit. So, you know, you got to watch the weather with him. The tailwind comes up, he's even a bigger runner. But, you know, I honestly think that he's a better horse over the 5 furlongs. It's a tricky kind of a race. You know, this horse, Naval Secret, over 1,200 on poly, has done very, very well. But he's held by Brass Bell. And then you have Life on Mars, who'll be probably better maybe over the 1,300 meters. He's also a big runner. And then the filly who ran in the big race over a 5 furlong European summer was a top run last time out, 1.6 to What a Winner. And, you know, What a Winner came out and I think won or ran second the next start. So, you know, that form is pretty solid, and she's drawn 1. Very tricky race. You know, the pick 6, you can't, it's not as open and not as clear cut as it looks in the betting. You know, you're going to need a couple of horses here. I went from Naval Secret, from Life on Mars, Brass Bell, and European Summer. You probably could add in Al Qasim if there's a tailwind on the day.
Well, the Grant going as the top choice, a marginal choice, the horse that's unbeaten, course and distance, 2 from 2. Number 1, Naval Secret. We're on to race number 6. It's over 1,600 meters. And this is a race that I'm looking forward to. Fillies and mares. It's a D division class. The reason I say this, Grant, is because when I look at most of these horses, you know, they are going to be loving a strong pace up front. And most of them enjoy making late runs. I'll give you the betting. 33-10, number 1, Demigod, enjoys coming from off the speed. This horse, number 5, Santa Anastasia, another horse, showed last time out. I don't know whether it was by design, but from that poor draw, dropped out, running on. And then we move along to 11-2, number 9, Mrs. Hotline. Here's another horse that's not, you know, as quick out the gates in the early part of the races, but you can find a good finish. 10, Opera King, another horse, enjoys a patient ride. You look at number 11, Our Lit. I think the same can be said about this individual at 10-1. I don't know what you make of this, because there's going to be a cavalry charge, I suspect, over the final 200 here.
Yeah, Deez, you know, this is a very, very difficult race, purely because there's no pace. Unless Sultana goes, it's going to be a canter sprint, and then anything can happen. If Sultana goes and stretches them out, which I do suspect will happen, then it will be a fair run race, and the horses like Demigod, Saint Anastasia, Opera Swing, Mrs. Hotline, and Outlet are all in the mix. And this race is very tricky because the pace is going to play a major factor. I've gone for Saint Anastasia from Opera Swing, who's always running on strongly, Mrs. Hotline and Demigod. But as I say, pace very important in this race.
Yeah, they're betting 33-10 the field, and it's all tight on the top as well. Grant, for the pick 6, you're saying as wide as possible there?
As wide as possible. 1-5. 9, 10, and 11. 1, 5, 9, 10, and 11.
Well, you managed to narrow that down for us. 5 runners out of the 13 that goes to post. I think that's good enough. 1, 5, 9, 10, and 11. We're on to the penultimate race. It is the Allo Handicap. It's over 1,300 meters. One of the runners that's been backed, thanks to Hollywoodbets for sending us this update. Number 1, Cheer for Me, from 6 to 1, anti-post. This is into 4 to 1. 7 to 2, number 2. Number 3 is at 11 to 2. 5, Pinnacle at 4 to 1. 9 to 2, number 6. 7 is a 7 to 1, 2 shot. And then that's it with the horses in single figures. This horse has attracted some anti-post betting money. One of 2 runners on the card that's been backed anti-post. Number 1, Cheer for Me.
She knows she was an excellent 2-year-old. She just hasn't trained on at all. She hasn't done anything once she's turned 3. Her last prep run, they gave her a sprint up in 1,000. She got beaten 20 lengths. Brandstone lost. So, you know what? She's going to have to improve. There's no doubt about that. You know, this is her 3rd run, but she's going in the wrong direction. You know, she first ran 3 lengths, Princess Debs, and then 20 lengths. So, it's a bit of a head scratcher. But I see they've slapped the blinkers on Double Destiny. She's holding solid form. She's been against the boys. Pure Maverick, 3 legs. Pure Maverick's a very good run. Probably the right horse in the race with the blinkers. Carbonado won extremely well last time out. Really, really well. She looked good and she moved to the start well and won accordingly. And then the filly like Pinnacle also won a decent race last time out, but only at the 68 level. Not a difficult race. I think Carbonado, Double Destiny, around those 2 horses, and maybe add Pinnacle. You'll be all right. Chronicles of Narnia is a very nice filly, but I think the 1,300 on the poly is going to catch her out. She probably needs a mile minimum. So, Double Destiny, Carbonado for me.
Yeah, I didn't see that race last time out, Grant, but I'm just having a look at it here. I think the saddle slipped there. It is reported that the saddle slipped in the running, so she had no assistance there. So, I think we're going to have to draw a line and forgive Cheer for Me that last start then.
Well, then that's more than a decent excuse. If the saddle stays tight, then she's got to be a runner.
Yeah, because I think it must have slipped really badly to have run 20 lengths back, because it has been reported, Cheer for Me, last time out, ignore that run completely. So you're going to include that now that you have that comment, Grant?
Into the pick 6 will definitely go in. Yes, champion 2-year-old filly, she had to go in.
Has to go in now that we know that the saddle slipped and there's been anti-post betting support 6 to 1 into 4 to 1. We're on to the lucky last over 1,300 meters. It's a D division class, a merit-rated 68 handicap. Horses in single figures: 1, 5 to 1, 2, 5 to 1, 3, 9 to 2, 6 at 9 to 2, 7 at 11 to 2. And then there is a horse that's been supported anti-post. I mentioned there was 2 of them on the card. Cheer for Me in the previous race, and this horse Charged Down has been back from bigger odds, 20 to 1, now trading at 10 to 1. So take note of that. If we're running in the pick 6, how many horses do you think we need here to be fairly confident that we can catch it?
Well, we will be running into the last, but you know, this is where I went for the banker here. I thought this horse Delio was the best bet on the card by a long way. I know he was beaten 5 lengths, but he was beaten by a smart horse last time out in Perfection, and his previous start was at the MR80 level, 2 lengths to Mhlabeni, who's I think a 5 or 6 time winner.
Yes.
He's running in a merit-rated 68, nice draw. I make him very, very, very hard to beat. This horse that there was the anti-post betting for Charged Down, number 13. There was, if you watch this, go back to the replay of this horse. He got left. He was all at sea, didn't know what he was doing, swung for home, stone last, and flew the last bit. Absolutely flew over a 5 furlong. 1,300 meters. He's got to have a chance, but he's drawn 12 out of 13. He's going to need a lot of luck from there. But I think by that time, Delio will be off and gone.
Wow, I like your thinking in the last. The guys will be listening into this because you're going a banker at the back with a 9 to 2 shot. Yes, it's an open betting market. They are betting basically 9 to 2 the field here. The horses on top, number 3 Dalil and number 6 Admiral's Chance. Number 3 Dalil and number 6 Admiral Chance are the 9 to 2 shots. So Grant has found us a nice one here. He really found us a nice one. I mean, if this horse has to arrive and you're running in your pick six, wow, this is going to save you a lot of money with that perm. So we'll be keeping a close eye on number 3, Dalil. Grant, your suggested bet is going to come up on screen now. You just want to go to that, please?
Yeah, D's suggested bet place accumulator. You tell me when you're ready. That side.
Yeah, go for it. It's on the screen. Go for it.
All right, the first leg I've gone Rogue Mail, the 1 and the 6, Vuvuzela Mlilo. The second leg, Modern Magician, the 1 with a cover, Stay the Course. Smaller punters can bank a modern position if they want to. The third leg, 3, Quick Count, and the 10, Bouquet. And then we go on to the 1, Naval Secret, and the 3, Life on Mars. Then Demigod and Saint Anastasia in race 6. Race 7, I've gone Double Destiny and Carbonado, and the banker of Dalil at the back.
Well, is it correct that that perm costs 64 Rand, Grant?
100% sure, 64 Rand.
Well, an affordable perm there, 64 Rand, and just listening into this preview, well, plenty value found in a few races by Grant Paddock. Grant, I wish you well, and it's a pleasure catching up, and all the best in whatever you're pursuing, but it's great for me to know that your heart is still in racing and you're still trying to keep active, and we thank you for your input on our show here at Gallop TV. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dees. Have a good one, my man. Go well.
Thanks to Grant Paddock as we say goodbye to him. And, he's given a place accumulator that costs 64 Rand, and he's given a lot of value on the card. Thanks to Grant Paddock, and on behalf of the team at Gallop TV and myself, Dees Dinan, you have a blast. You find all the winners. You make a huge profit on Monday in Kabeja. Until we meet again, you take care. Salani Kaashle.